Hi, I'm Marla Kaplowitz, President and CEO of the 4A's, and we're here with another session of Convene, Challenge, Change with the Drum, and I'm really excited because we're going to talk Super Bowl. And today I'm here with Diane Saylor, who is the Senior Director for Full Funnel Marketing of Salty Snacks at Kellanova, and Jason Connor, who is the Global Chief Client Officer of Gray Group. And Gray has been part of the Pringles business for several years and retained the business when Kellogg's, now known as Kellanova, bought the brand from P&G several years ago. And what I'm excited about is there's always been this continuous innovation and a real push for differentiation. So I want to talk about the campaign that you launched last year called Can Hands, which I love that name. It's so perfect. So Diane, can you share more about the history of the effort and its impact on the business? And then Jason, I would really like to hear your perspective on how the team identified this opportunity and what is the real appetite that you see for risk-taking with the brand?
Sure. So 7 years ago, we decided to get in the Super Bowl game. And we had to decide how are we going to show up. So we like to think of ourselves as unique within the salty snacks category. We have a very unique shape. We have a unique vehicle in which we serve you the snack. And we believe our flavors set us apart from some of our competition. So as we began to build campaigns, and what you'll see we have a pattern of is really leaning in on our distinctive assets. So for the first 4 years, we ran a campaign we called flavor stacking, which is the act of stacking 3 Pringles, which nestle perfectly on top of each other to create a more kind of complex and well-rounded flavor. So for example, a barbecue chicken wing, where you might combine a ranch, a buffalo, and a barbecue Pringle. So we ran that for 4 years, really leaning into the iconic shape of the crisp. And then, as you mentioned last year, as well as the year before, so 22 and 23, we ran a campaign we called Can Hands, which interestingly enough, people admit that they do get their hands stuck in a can of Pringles. The can is another distinctive asset of ours, right? It's very unique to the brand. We get comments from people asking us to make the can bigger, but really it's the perfect delivery vehicle for our crisps and keep them kind of safe and sound, and allows you to bring the food with you wherever you want to go. So we leaned into Can Hands in partnership with Gray in 2022 and sort of established the problem exists, right? The idea on that was called Get Stuck In. And it was very widely accepted of like, oh my gosh, yeah, that's happened to me before, or there's really like a truth within that. And then as we moved into 23 in working with Gray, the Can Hands campaign year 1 was so strong. So we evaluated ideas that would continue to build on it for a year 2. And that's where we landed with this idea called It Happens to the Best of Us. And we saw esteemed professionals like a judge, and we saw hardworking people like an air traffic controller, all getting their hands stuck in a can, but it was worth it. And they go on living their lives humorously, of course, with the can stuck on their hand. And you sort of see that play out within the ad. And in that, we had a very iconic song. We had Simply the Best with Tina Turner, and that really gave a lot of firepower creatively and kind of memorability to last year's ad. So we've really so far leaned into 2 distinctive assets. And I think, I'm sure we're going to talk today about what we have teed up for 24, but you'll see that that's a pattern of distinctiveness for Pringles.
Yeah, Marla, I think just building off of Diane's reply, it's what's ownable, but also it's what is truly like insight mining on that. So as Diane was saying earlier with the flavor stacking, we know from observing consumer behavior and tracking that flavor stacking was a thing. On Can Hands, data that shows that 48% of people that have eaten Pringles have gotten their hands stuck in a can. Like it is that prevalent. So that's the type of thing that allows us to then springboard off of it, right? And I think as Diane was just alluding to too, as we fast forward into this year also, Diane had mentioned we always want to do things that only Pringles can do, and leaning into our own distinctive assets. When you get into the Super Bowl, you have to be true to your brand, you have to be engaging, but you also have to be entertaining. So as we think about, what's that next magical step that the brand can take in on this? We got into area. So Marla, I will ask you, have you ever heard of the Bader-Meinhof effect?
Yes.
Okay, so then you know it's one of those things where once you see something or once you hear something, you see or hear it everywhere and you just can't
Mhm.
unsee it or unhear it. Well, people see Mr. P. Mr. P, aka the Pringles Guide, which is another one of our distinctive assets. So that's what we're leaning into this year, and we're already having a ton of fun with it.
Oh, I can't wait to see. This is really great. And it sounds like you have a really great partnership where there is an open understanding of let's take some risks because you're leaning into what is unique about the brand. So let's talk Super Bowl. And we've talked a little bit about it already. Very exciting that you've been part of the big game for the past 6 years and you're going on your 7th year. It is clearly the mecca for advertising. Every consumer is excited about seeing the ads. I mean, we are just deluged with teasers and what's happening and who are the celebrities and what's going to be happening and what are the brands. And everyone dreams of having a spot there. So, Diane, why does Pringles not only keep coming back to the Super Bowl, but what was the initial impetus 7 years ago to say this is the right place for our brand?
Yeah, that's a good question. When we first got into it, we have always been, a challenger, a formidable one in the salty snacking space. And we know that Super Bowl, big game day, is the biggest snacking day of the year. And that's from the consumer lens, right? We also know it's a huge opportunity for marketers everywhere. It's like Christmas for us marketers to get to see all the creativity that's out there. And so when we thought about, really putting a stake in the ground during Q1 and anchoring our like a fast start to our year, Super Bowl gave us a really unique opportunity to kind of hold display that we traditionally had in store during football season and stretch it into the year and have Pringles come front and center at that moment, being the biggest snacking day of the year. And then when you think about it from a marketing perspective, the eyeballs that you get on your brand and your sense of humor and your tone and everything it is that you want to say is outsized during the big game in a way that nothing else in the year replicates. And what I feel like we've done a very good job of is kind of finding our magic formula so that we don't just have 30 seconds on game day. Instead, we like to call it like the 60 days leading to Super Bowl to drive excitement and to honestly have people think about our brand before the weekend. That's the key, right? Is that they're actually bringing Pringles to the party where you might not have traditionally seen us before. And it's very fun now to go to my own Super Bowl activities and see friends have Pringles there.
I think that's super key because when people, talk about Super Bowl, it is not just the 30-second advert. As Diane was saying, it's a 6-day plan. It's weeks leading up to it. And we're doing that to create awareness for the brand, to make sure that we're top of mind in consumers' minds when they're doing their own shopping lists, when they're starting, for their parties or for themselves, filling their basket with what they're going to have on game day. We know that, salty snacks is a really fiercely competitive category. How do we get in the basket first? And and claim that spot. So in doing that, a company that comes with a whole teaser campaign that's been borne out over social too, which has been a ton of fun in this case, just in terms of how we've teased it. So it's really, really methodical in terms of our approach. It's not just gunning up and trying to finish that 30-second spot, which, by the way, yes, has been done, and we're super excited about it this year. But it's all the assets that we've been able to, develop and curate on the way that we're starting to launch at. That's building a lot of great momentum and really trying to stoke the brand in advance.
So that really gives a sense of how you think differently about a Super Bowl ad versus a regular ad and how you're thinking about how does Pringles really stand out. Is there any other details you can share about this year? I know you kind of teased a little bit. Anything else that you can share about what we're going to see and any surprises?
Sure, I can start
Sure.
with that, and then Jason, I'd love you to
Yep.
build.
Yep.
what's really exciting about this year is that we're working with Chris Pratt, and he's brought a ton of fun and attention. He's a great fit with our brand. Like, our personalities are very simpatico, and so just his expressions alone that I think you'll see in the teaser, they tell such a story with no words. It's really amazing. So we're super excited to kind of share the ad and roll it out. What you're going to see us doing is helping, to Jason's point, everyone see Mr. P, and then you can't unsee him. So in addition to the creative we have rolling out, we have a whole campaign on social, where consumers can actually spot Mr. P in everyday objects. You know, think latte art and the clouds and their dog. And we're seeing some really funny stuff come in for consumers, and that's all live now. And when we move on from Super Bowl, which yes, we will do at some point this year, I think you'll see us continue to focus on some of these things that are just Pringles, right? They're just really only we can do, and show up in a way that feels unique to us.
Yeah, definitely. And we've also had Chris Pratt's wife get in on this. So she's doing her own thing just in terms of, it happened a little while ago, who's that mystery man with the mustache, and getting her active online. We also have a social media contest that's going to be encouraging fans to submit photos and videos on TikTok and Instagram of their Mr. P settings or creations, with a chance to win things. We're really going to make it a lot of fun as interactive as possible. It's not often that you get to have fun with a distinctive brand asset that is as much fun as Mr. P is, and really lends itself to user engagement. In this way, it's the ideation process on this alone has been absolutely amazing, and we can't wait for consumers to really get involved and get their hands on it.
I'm excited to see how that kind of manifests over the next kind of week plus. And the last thing I just want to end on is Pringles has not always done a celebrity, right? So you chose to do a celebrity. Can you talk a little bit more about that? Because it seems more and more that Super Bowl ads are really leaning into the use of celebrity. And I think that's also an interesting thing, just to kind of share why you said this year we really want to ensure we have the celebrity profile.
Listen, I think every brand has to do what's right for them. I think with Pringles over the years, and we have used celebrities before, it's how is that celebrity going to be additive to the brand experience and the brand story that we're putting forth. We're not just borrowing equity of the celebrity. It's just, can they embrace the authenticity of the brand? Are they adding that positive storytelling element that's going to engage consumers and become part of a story that only Pringles can deliver? So our talent strategy is pretty tight on that. It's not superfluous. It's really to make sure that we are strategically and intentionally choosing the person that feels right for the brand, feels right for our audience, and can create not only engagement, but entertainment.
Great. That's terrific. Thank you, Diane. Thank you, Jason. I'm really excited to watch the ad during the big game and wish you lots of success. Thank you both. I appreciate it.
You got it. Thank you.
Marla.